Hi, welcome to Draw Plans. I'm Tom Norris, and today I want to look at one of our small projects. It's a three-bedroom property in Reading, and the client wants to change the layout on the ground floor. So what I'm going to do is let you have a look here on the existing, and I'll explain it a little. So it's a absolutely standard three-bedroom semi, and as you can see, you've got your front entrance here, a door going into the front lounge and a door going into the kitchen. So it's not a very big house, it's a very simple house. They've got French doors from the kitchen to the garden, French doors with side lights to the patio. One big fireplace in the middle with a stove. She's got a client as a TV here, sofa. So just moved in, but what she wants to do is she wants to open it up a bit, have the kitchen as a more open plan. So my job is to suggest a few options to see where we get to. So this would be my first option. I'm just going to bring it up a little so I can explain in more detail. Let me just bring it up. Right, so one of the ideas was to take out the doors. Well, first off, take out this particular wall between the kitchen and the back lounge. It's impossible to decide if it's load bearing in any way because I don't know which way the joists are working, so we're going to have to test that out if the client likes the design. So it may need some structural alterations, but either way, you take this wall out and you can close up the lounge, and then you enter through the kitchen, the old kitchen door coming in that way. So you get a more secluded private lounge. You could of course leave the door open to the lounge, it's entirely up to the client. But if we did it this way and made all this open, in theory you don't need the door. So that might be a better position then for a nice three-seater settee with a table in the corner and some lights and bits and pieces, another table on this corner, and perhaps a smaller couch in the center. But she has a very nice unit here and a wall hung TV, so it would all work really well. And because it's a fairly modern house, it's got a stove in here, so it's effectively a log burner, so it's quite lovely. And of course she does have normal central heating as well. So getting back to the kitchen, the island, 1500 by 900 island, and again 1100 between the island and the worktop, standard. Client wanted a double fronted fridge freezer, American style aluminium thingy, so two doors rather than a 50-50. She wanted two tall small doors. And now the problem with the design is it may look very, very well, especially if you decide to do the structural works to the back wall and make it open plan, because then you end up with 4,400, almost 4.5 meters of bifold doors, which would have a huge impact on the space. But of course it's going to cost money because all structural works do. But I think there was a window here which I've closed up because we need to run some wall units and we need to maximize the space in here. Now this is the staircase, and as you go up the stairs and turn at the top, there's a bulkhead here in the kitchen, which means wall units can only come as far as here. So if you look at it and you compare it to the existing plan, client has a few wall units. Client has wall units all along here and two lengths of worktop, the full length. So in my view, she's about 25% to 30% worse off on this design with regard to facilities for units, worktop, etc. So it's so that's a decision the client has to make as to whether she needs more space, or whether she can put up with that amount of space and get something that would look incredible but perhaps not give you enough space for, worktop space or kitchen unit space, because you're getting caught on the bulkhead, getting caught on the big double fridge freezer, and you're losing all your wall space. Right, so that's one design. That was option A that I prepared, and I then did option B. Now option B was to reduce the opening going to the garden. In fact, make use of the existing opening, take out the French doors and side light and pop in bifolds, and then lose the wall between the kitchen and the back lounge or the dining room. And what you can then do if you close up the doors to the garden is you can get an L-shaped kitchen, and we can still do not an island this time, but we can do a breakfast bar, which of course can have units or appliances underneath, and it can still look pretty fantastic. And of course, if you wanted to, you could put the fridge freezer on this end and have the breakfast bar on here. So there's numerous ways you could do it, but now this, when it comes to facilities or resources, it's about the same amount of worktop as you would have had in the existing kitchen, and just a touch less on the wall units, because even though you've got this run, it's not as long as one complete run along there. So it's almost on a par, but not quite. Again, I've closed up this doorway and see what the client thinks of it. So we closed up a window, closed up the French doors, kept the existing space. So it's a much cheaper option, and a bigger kitchen for the client. So it will be interesting to see if she goes for that one. And then this was my third option. Third option was a much bigger kitchen. For that, we closed up the kitchen doorway and kept the existing doorway into the lounge. So now you get in this way, come in the hallway, get into the lounge, and go around. Excuse me, I have to close that off. And then go around to get into the kitchen. Now this is, as I say, because we've closed up the window and the door, we've got a much bigger kitchen. Then this one would be about 25% bigger than the existing kitchen. We still do the bifolds from the existing space, take out the UPVC French doors and give her a bifold door, which she really wanted. Client gets the American style fridge freezer here. Again, it could be on that side, probably might even work better on that side because of the impact, the visual of coming around and being able to see a statement fridge freezer at that end. Again, we were looking at quartz worktops, build under sink, probably the draining pattern etched into the quartz, where a lot of people do right now because very popular. So again, when we look at it on the whole, client has three options. This one, reduced kitchen, much bigger space to the garden. This one is a 50-50, and you're closing up here, so you're losing light on the doorway, you're losing light on here, and you've got the same light more or less here. So it's a question of whether this would be a little bit too dark for the client. I don't know, but everything is a trade-off. So what I wanted to do was to show you how we arrive at what we think the client might want through the process of preparing three options, and we work from that. So we send this out to the client, and then the client can chew a little bit and tweak it, and then we tweak the plans, and that's how we get there. So that's the basis of this tutorial, to show you the process of redesigning a kitchen for a simple 3-bedroom house, to make it more modern, to make it more open plan, to make it more accessible. and the client will weigh up the pros and cons and so on. Like for example, on this one, if we open this up, go for the full width, client is going to need structural calculations, it's going to need building control involvement, going to need a planning application. So suddenly now you're about £4,000 more just by doing that, perhaps £5,000 more. Whereas on here we're keeping the existing, no planning application, no building control. Taking this wall out, if it proves to be non-structural, not supporting, that's great. If not, they're going to need building control. But I think on all of the options they're going to need to take this wall out to make it open plan. So there's lots of little choices to make, and the client needs to work it out, but it'd take a little bit of time, and my job was to basically provide sketches to show the options so that they can weigh it up and make a decision. Okay, hopefully you get some value from what we do here. It gives you an insight as to the thinking process as to how we go from A to B. Okay, lovely. If you like what I did, or if you like the fact that I've shared this video with you, let us know, pass a comment, or even hit the like button. And if you want to see more like this, then hit the subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.